Losing is what got us here. None of us feel good about it. This is, where we are. You are what your record is. You are what has happened, recently. But things can change quickly. Once we losing is what got us here.
Welcome back to the Losers Lounge. Tony, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
It's good, Sim. 2 L's up. We back.
No doubt about it, man. It's life just seems to get in the way of a lot of stuff, man. But life is cooling out for me a little bit. Life has been crazy for me the last 8 months. It feels like it's starting to chill out a little bit. So, hopefully we can get on the track and stay on that joint for a little while. But how what's good with you, man? How you feeling?
First of all, same here. you know what I mean? Like, just had mouth surgery, so I'm finally had to take about a good week off, but I'm back, feeling good, ready to go, man.
Yeah, man. I'm glad everything went good with the surgery. You just never know when you got to go under, bro. So I'm glad to see you. You just never know.
I'm glad I'm back, man.
I mean, yeah, no doubt about it. Last night the Knicks took care of the Bucks. Andrew said the Bucks were easy work for Brunson, even though they were double teaming him most of the game. Jalen Brunson dropped 43 last night on the Bucks.
Yeah, 43, and his decision making, like, he's adjusting. You know what I mean? He's adjusting to being. I don't want to say that. Well, yeah, being that guy and being the focal point and adjusting to the absence of Julius Randle, where he had another guy that could take some of that pressure off and command a double team. Now It's really just him. So now it's double team. Now it's sometimes triple team. You know what I mean? It's whatever we got to do to stop him, and still can't stop him. And not only that, he's figuring out how to make the right reads. Like his decision making out of the doubles is looking the best it's ever been.
Yeah. And guys are understanding where they're supposed to go, what they're supposed to do, cutting to the right spots. You know what I'm saying? So, that's really, really good to see. And let's put it like this, Julius Randle, while he's not coming back, he's on the sideline and he's watching. He can see it happening. So hopefully, next year he's able to, okay, this is where I fit in to those, to those cuts, to those slashes when they're doubling Jalen, trapping Jalen up high. This is where I can cut to those things, watching the game from afar. You know what I mean? Which hopefully is going to make him better and the team overall better when he does get back next year. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's jump right in, man. Where we at? Boom.
Who
is this?
B.
Said, I feel like I jinxed us when I said we could go undefeated to end the season. Might end up losing them all.
And that says, speaking of losing, welcome to the Losers Lounge. That's right, baby. We back.
We back in effect. Welcome to the Losers Lounge, man. They might end up losing them all. When I was looking at their schedule, we were looking at their schedule to end the season. You know what I mean? And they got a tough schedule. I would say maybe they beat Boston, right? Because, you would think Boston has the ability right now to just rest their players. They've clinched what? They've clinched the Eastern Conference. They should be clinching the Western Conference too, right? They should clinch overall. They're 62-16.
I believe so.
Right. If they have 4 games left, if they lose those 4 games, they'd be 62-20. Minnesota, the number 1 team in the Western Conference, is 54-24.
Yeah. So yeah, they clinched.
So they clinched the entire league. You know
I'll
what I mean?
say this, and we mentioned this before, or I think I mentioned it before when we was having the discussion about resting guys or whatever down the stretch with this new rule implemented. You know what I mean? Where they don't want guys resting. How does the league look at it? You know what I mean? They still want guys. They still want guys seen by the
Right.
fans and things of that nature. So it's going to be interesting if teams rest, or like I said at that time, do they come in and just play minimum minutes, 20 minutes, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Just so we don't get fined or whatever the case.
Yeah. So the Celtics last game versus Portland. Let me see. Jaylen Brown played. Porzingis played. Al Horford played. Uh, Drew Holiday played. Right. Jason Tatum didn't play that game. Now the next game you know what? I was thinking that Boston may not play their players against the Knicks. I'm going to change that. I think maybe the last two games against Charlotte and Washington, they don't play their players, but the next two games are both on TNT. Those guys are probably going to play. You know what I'm saying? You would think that they're probably going to play.
Yeah, and speaking of what I was saying, they definitely put an emphasis on the national televised games.
Right.
When guys are sitting, they be, they sat them on the national televised. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that
So
yeah.
The Knicks got to be ready to step up and prove that they can beat Boston this year. You know what I mean? Prove that they can beat Boston. JJ said the rumors are the Bucks are losing these games on purpose to avoid Miami in the first round.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, might as well go ahead and jump right in because some of their fans believe it, right? KPZ sounds like a KP fan. Said I figured out the Bucks are trying to avoid certain teams in the playoffs. That explains the losses. And then Marvin said, don't know why they're scared to play the Heat. So they'd rather lose games on purpose just to avoid the Heat. That's crazy. You think that's the case?
Man, if it is, I'm gonna tell you this: the basketball gods frown upon that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They
Right.
and now it becomes bulletin board material for whoever you're facing.
Whoever you're facing, right?
Oh, you wanted to play us?
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, so and with the coach that they have and the way things have really been shaky for them down the stretch, I think you want to go into the playoffs playing your best. I don't think you want to throw games and you know what I mean? Like, so I don't believe it, but I think it's a funny narrative.
Yeah. I mean, so here's the thing, right? Because I talk a lot about personally as a fan, I don't want the Knicks to have to play Boston in the first or second round, right? They're not going to play them in the first round. I don't want them to have to play Boston in the second round. But as a coach, I would never go out there and say we're going to lose games so that we can be in this seed. You know what I mean? Every game that I go out there and play, I want to win, no matter what. Because, like you said, it's better to go into the playoffs playing your best. You know what I mean? You want to go in playing your best, winning basketball games. You want to keep building that chemistry. You want to keep the confidence going. So you never go and try to lose. You know what I'm saying? So all the people that's in the chat is like, well, Sim, you want to avoid Boston. I do. I want to avoid Boston, but I'm not willing to lose games to do that. You know what I'm saying? I want to win games and get up to the second seed or get up to the third seed, and then, by way of that, I avoid Boston, but I'm not willing to drop down to the sixth seed so that I can avoid Boston. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to lose games so I can be the sixth seed because it's easier to lose games than win games so I can avoid Boston. No, I want to win games. You know what I'm saying? And then, and build up to the point where, we got so good that we were able to get in the position where we avoided them. Me thinking as a fan, we avoided them and we didn't have to lose. You know what I'm saying? But I always want to win games. I mean, y'all know I don't even want to tank, right? I don't even like tanking.
Oh man, remember them years, Sim?
Remember that?
Arguing with the chat. Yo, we gotta take it.
Yo, we got to tank. I'm like, no, we don't learn nothing by tanking. You know what I'm saying? We don't learn nothing by tanking. We don't get better by tanking. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
Yeah.
the pre-Brunson years.
Brunson years, no doubt. You know what I mean? You know, no doubt about it. So no, I think you win games. You know what I'm saying? You go out there and you try to win every single game. Kevin said, if you try to control your own destiny, you're bound for an early exit. You know, that could be. But I think I think you go out, you try to win basketball games, and you finish where you finish. You know what I'm saying? By trying to win. That doesn't mean that, in your mind, you don't know, like, this is a better path. You know what I mean? Like for example, this year with my team in the playoffs, we tried to win every single game, but we knew there were certain teams that if we matched up with when we get in the playoffs, we had a better chance. But we didn't try to move around to get to that team. We just played. And then wherever we fell, we fell. You know what I mean? And, we ended up having to play a team that was the toughest team to beat. They ended up winning the championship, and we got eliminated in the first round. But we gave them a battle, though. You know what I'm saying? We was right there. We was down 10 going into the fourth quarter. Where everybody else, they was blown out. We gave them a battle, but, we came up short. You know what I mean? Greg said that's why you got knocked out. Yeah, we got knocked out because we played a better team, but we didn't try to finagle our way to play a worse team. We just played and tried to win. But in the back of my mind, we knew who we could match up with the best. You know what I'm saying? We knew who we could match up with the best because you play these teams every time you go out there. So as a coach, you know who you match up with. And we had a chance in the fourth quarter to beat that team. There was a time in the fourth quarter we was only down 7. We had been beaten by them by 20 plus points each time we played them. Fourth quarter, we was down 7. We was right there. They just had too much experience. We were too young. We'll get them next year. But, I don't think Milwaukee's doing that, though. I think Milwaukee's just losing. I don't think the chemistry is there. I don't think they're really, really deep. I think they're very top heavy with Dame and Giannis and Chris Middleton and those guys. You know what I mean? I don't think they're trying to lose games. It's too hard to try to lose games to gain an advantage. It's too hard to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. You just win. You just win.
I mean, shout out. I am Jarrell. It says no way Giannis is signing off on losing just to play Miami. No way. I agree 100%. And he might be the guy to even be a whistleblower if something like that comes is happening. You know what I mean? Like he'll go right to the media like, no, I am not with it.
Right. And as it stands right now, they wouldn't even play Miami. Miami's the 8th seed. I mean, you can't even control that. If Miami right now, Miami would have to play Philadelphia in the play-in tournament, right? Philadelphia's at 7, Miami's at 8. And it's looking like, I mean, there's what? Philadelphia has 5 games left to the season. I mean, it's possible that they could get up to 48, 49 wins and move up to the 6th seed, 5th seed, or whatever it is, depending on what everything does. It's also possible that Miami, I think they got 6 games left.
Mm-hmm.
They got 4 games left, right? Depending on what happens, they could also move up, so it's too hard to really try to control that part of it because you can't control the other teams. And right now the Bucks are in the 2 seed. They're holding on to the 2 seed. They might lose it because they play Orlando twice over the next few games. They're holding on to that 2 seed. And they were the 2 seed. If Miami were to beat the 76ers, then they would play Miami. If the 76ers beat Miami, they would have to play the 76ers. So, that's nothing they can control there. I don't know. What's the thing about Miami, though? What?
Just the narrative that they're scared of them. They beat them last year, etc.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, I guess the I wouldn't be surprised if that came from a Miami Heat fan
Right.
in disguise. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
But the narrative is out there. But what I was gonna say is that argument could be said for Boston, us. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they ran through the East last year, right? As a eighth seed.
Exactly. As an AFC. Right. Exactly. You know what I mean? So we'll see. KPZ from before, he said, so the Bucks clinched today, so these losses aren't so bad, I guess. They didn't clinch the second seed, but they clinched a playoff berth.
Yeah, six or
Right.
better.
So they're going to be 6 or better no matter what. Yeah.
And speaking of, I don't know if I highlighted this comment or not. So pardon me if I did, but somebody has said that they should just rest, and that's the issue.
That Milwaukee should just rest.
Yeah, knowing that they clinch, you know what I mean, whatever seed they get, and I'm just like that, like I don't know. I mean, I know they have some injury, like Middleton. He's constantly injured. You know what I mean. I don't know who they're referring to needing the rest, but I would think they need more games together just to kind of figure things out.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess the thing is, I guess that person's argument is whether they play, they're the second seed right now, right? Whether they play Orlando, the Knicks, Cleveland, Indiana, they're gonna have a chance to beat any of those teams, right? Whether they have home court advantage or not. So I can understand that argument, But if I'm Milwaukee, I'm trying to maintain the 2 seed because I too, if I'm Milwaukee, don't want to play Boston until you get to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? So I'm like, let me maintain the 2 seed.
Yeah.
And that's not the only reason you want to maintain it, because that's an accomplishment. The more accomplishments that you can get under your belt going into the playoffs, the more confidence you have going into the playoffs, right? So you want to, you want, that'll be, hey, you know what? We were struggling. We lost 4 in a row. We lost 6 or 7, and we still clinched the 2 seed. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can do this. It's something to build on. Going into the playoffs. But I don't know. Just said, so we're still the 2 seed after this loss. That's the crazy part. But guys need to hit shots moving forward. Yeah, they're still the 2 seed. What's this say about the Eastern Conference, though? Do you think that? I mean, when you look out in the West, number 1 seed, obviously Boston is the creme de la creme right now in the league, record-wise at least.
Yeah, I think their playing teams would be like a 6 seed.
Yeah.
The West, you know what I mean? The West playing team will be a 6 seed.
Right. I mean, Golden State is 43 and 35. Right. And they're the 10th.
And they're at the bottom, right? They 10. Yeah.
They're 10. So right now, Miami's 43 and 35 in the East, and they're 8th.
8th. Yeah. Yep.
And then Chicago is 37 and 41. Atlanta is 36 and 42. I don't see either one of those teams finishing with a winning record. Atlanta they're going to be 500 or worse. Right? They can't do any better than 500.
Mm-mm.
Right? Because they already got 42 losses, so they can't do any better than 500. So they're going to be 500 or worse. Chicago.
Oh, nah, they under 500.
They're under 500. I'm tripping. Yeah. Right. 82 games. What am I talking about? So, yes. So, Chicago can be 500. Atlanta, the best they can be is 40 and 42. Yeah, but Chicago will be 500 or worse. So, I mean, and when you look in the Western Conference, I mean, the Rockets can still be a 500 team. They're 38-40.
I'll tell you, but going off of this comment here, the crazy thing is, I think Doc Rivers is under 500 on the Bucks, and they still the 2 seed. You know what I mean? Like, and they fired the coach that was doing so well. You know what I mean? That Doc is doing this bad, and they still kind of reaping the benefits of the previous coach and their record. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I
Yeah,
think he's under 500
that's
currently with this Bucks team.
that's crazy. So this guy, Big Donkey Kong Jr., said, so you know what? Adrian Griffin wasn't a bad coach after all.
There you go.
What is it with Doc, man?
Oh man, like I said last night, man, this might be his last coaching stint for a long time. I mean, if they don't, like, it has to be championship or bust. Like, I don't think there's no way around that. How do they move forward and keep him after this year? And I don't know what it's kind of contract he signed. I'm assuming it was more than a 1 year, finish the year out contract. I'm assuming it was a multi-year deal.
Right.
But how do they continue? Like, this is detrimental. Like, this could be nasty, because now you move on from him. You're talking about 4 coaches in what, 3 years?
Yeah. Some.
Because they on 3 coaches.
They had Bud. Yeah. Bud, Adrian Griffin, and then Doc Rivers.
So that's 3 coaches in 2 years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
That's 3 coaches in 2 years. You get rid of this guy, so they almost forced to keep him.
Yeah. I mean, under Doc Rivers, they're
Pardon me.
15-17.
They,
15-17. Right. Under Adrian Griffin,
it was 32-13.
they were 32-15, I think it is. No, 32-14. 32-14 under Adrian Griffin. 15-17 under Doc Rivers. And during that time that they were 32-14 or whatever it was, what's his name didn't play for a significant period. Chris Middleton.
That's a fact.
Right? Chris Middleton was not playing.
That's a fact.
That's crazy. They said, wow, that's crazy finding a coach at 32-14. Right. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say about Doc, man. I don't know. I don't know what to say about him.
I see a couple people in the chat, blaming Giannis, saying Giannis got rid of him. That was Kerry Cox, and Craig. Shout out to Craig, says Giannis is a diva. How much do you think Giannis had to do with the removal of Griffin? And then, if so, do you think he stamped Doc Rivers? You know what I mean? Like, I would think if you have the power to remove a coach, you would also have the input of who's coming in.
Right?
You know what I mean? So if that is the case, now Giannis kind of has to live with that, right? He's gotta own it, lay in the bed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you kind of had the onus to really try to make it work with whatever coach you said. Okay, yeah, I'm cool with being under this coach. you got to try to make it work. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. But I agree with you. This could be Doc Rivers' last stop. His next stop would be an assistant coach somewhere. You know what I mean? You know, like this, like the way that dang, what's his name? Mike Woodson, right? Had some great years as a head coach, but you know, he couldn't get teams over the hump, this and that. He ended up, you know, being an assistant coach on benches. You know, and it's kind of the same thing with Doc right now. This is it. I think after this, yeah, people are gonna look at him and say, "Nah, you're an assistant now." You know what I mean? Tough for the Bucks because I'm pretty sure they felt like he was gonna be able to come in, and I don't know why, based on his history, you know, with the Clippers, with Philadelphia, but I guess they felt like he was the right guy to be able to manage stars and get the job done. And
Yeah,
there you go.
that's tough, bro.
You know, it's tough. This guy here, Sean, said, "I want Coach Bud back."
I mean, that was the first mistake.
Yeah,
Like that was off the championship, right? Like, I mean, he's the guy that got you there.
was it off the championship? Yeah,
Or shortly thereafter,
or
you know what I
shortly
mean? Like
thereafter.
the year after, but that's crazy because I remember they saying I think they said that had never happened before.
Yeah, I mean, off of a championship, you fire your coach. That I mean, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. You think Dame? You think Dame Little? You think he wants to stay there?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the sad part is, I think he just like before, he's restricted. He only wants to go to Miami. I think that still holds true, but yeah, like now the asking price goes down. I think you know what I
Right,
mean. Like now,
right.
depending on how Miami's year goes, though, because if they were playing hardball before, maybe they loosen their stance as well.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Depending on how Miami's year goes. So maybe it can work out all around, but um yeah, they're gonna have to restructure the Bucks. I think
Yeah,
the Bucks are gonna have to restructure somehow, some way.
somehow, some way. Yeah, no doubt. Brett said we could have gotten Kenny Atkinson or anybody else to coach for that matter. We settled for Doc. Son is a bonehead for real.
Well, let me ask you, what do you think specifically with the Bucks? You know what I mean, not the Clippers, not Philly. What do you think has gone wrong here for Doc? From you know what I mean, what is Doc
Doc,
doing wrong with
Uh,
this team?
first of all, for a team that's 32-14, and you come in, I don't know if you know, maybe he tried to change things and implement his way of playing. So now you have an entirely, you know, I don't know if it's entirely new, but you got something new that the players have to try to figure out, right? Um, like if I was Doc and I came in and things, you know, but was he already within the organization?
He was he was the consultant for you know what I
Right,
mean,
right.
consultant.
So if I'm Doc, I'm saying, okay, what were they doing offensively, defensively? What were the schemes? And I'm just keeping these here. You know what I'm saying? We can adjust whatever next year, but they're 32-14. Something's going right. I'm gonna keep these here. You know what I mean? And my focus now is, okay, let me learn those things so I can understand how I adjust off of them and whatever. We should have assistants who understand everything that they were doing and the strengths of the players and all of that. So I rely on them and let me manage the egos of the
Mhm.
players. right? Let me be that person. I don't need. They were 32-14, almost 20 games above 500. I don't need to mess with that. Let me just manage. How am I dealing with Dame? How am I
So,
dealing with Giannis? How are these guys being leaders on the team? Let me manage that portion of it. You know,
um, it's two things. Um, I don't know if he would have accepted it. Chances are no, but maybe not. Whatever. But I would have tried to keep Griffin on. You know what I mean? I would have tried to keep him on. Like, listen, I'll stay if he stays too. You know what I mean? And then kind of like you said, just manage the egos
yeah,
because things were working,
yeah,
even though things looked at 33 and 14, whatever it was. There was a buzz around like they don't look good, they don't look the same. You know what I mean? Whether they were squeaking by with wins, whatever the case was, I don't know. I wasn't watching, but I was listening, if
right,
you will, to
right.
the chatter. Um, but yeah, that's so drastic of a change, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then,
It's crazy.
like Kevin is saying, I think the Bucks chemistry is not there. The coolest said, I don't put the blame on Doc. The Bucks chemistry is way off. I guess my question is, was it off earlier? Like you said, you don't put all the blame on Doc, but was it when they were 32-14? Maybe the chemistry off when they were 32-14, and was the way things are going now inevitable because the chemistry was off early.
Mm.
Like maybe they went off a talent early, right? But as the season goes on, teams start to develop schemes and this and that. Now that chemistry piece can start to rear its head because now the games are getting more difficult. Defenses are playing tighter. People are understanding what you're trying to do, and so you can look and say, well, maybe this was inevitable. That
So,
regardless who the coach was going to be, maybe this was going to happen.
so to me, I don't really watch them, but what I've noticed that is killing them is one. Lopez is he's always been slow, but he's slower. He's a step slower. You know what I
Mm,
mean? He's not the Lopez that he was even last year. You know what I mean? Like, and it could be an age thing because his skill set is still the same. But I think his usage is too high. I think they don't utilize their best players.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, and maybe because like a guy like Portis, like he killed us last night.
Hmm.
Like somebody in the chat just said, I I, I can't go back, but
He said
you know
if
what I
it
mean?
wasn't for Portis, he said Nick Yak. He said we did. Bobby Portis was the reason we didn't win by 20 after being down 11, start of the third.
There you go. And like I said last night, when they was up, he was the guy that every time we made a run, boom, hit a three, back up nine, back up nine. Nine was that number that we just couldn't get past for that first half. You know what I mean? Like he kept bringing us back up down nine, hitting them threes. And then when we got the lead, he was the guy that kept them in the running. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
with his shot, they don't utilize him enough. um they kind of use him as a reserve. I think his role should be increased. You know what I mean? So I think they're kind of stuck in what got them where they was before to winning the championship, and they're
Mhm.
not making adjustments with the guys that they have on the team. They still giving the guys minimum roles who need bigger roles, and so I think that's a big part of it. And then Dame, I think it's gonna sound crazy, but for them to succeed, I think Dame has to be the one A1. It has to be Dame's show. Giannis is good enough to still be dominant in a reserve role.
Mm.
When they try to run it through Giannis, I think that's where it gets tricky. I think Dame is not used to being the second guy,
guy.
and they don't mesh good enough for them to just make it work that way. I think if they give Dame the ball, Dame time, like all game, Giannis is still gonna come out 20 plus points, you know what I mean? 10 plus rebounds. And if he focuses on the defensive end, which I think that's a big step back this year for Giannis. Defensively, he hasn't been dominant. It don't even look like he's focused to be a defensive guy. So I would be like Giannis, try to get defensive player of the year. Make
Right.
that your focus.
Right.
Run the offense through Dame. Utilize the pieces that actually fit with Dame the best, which is like Portis. I'm drawing a blank on some of the other players, but there's like 3 other guys that Dame plays phenomenally with. And I would probably move Giannis to the 5. That's the last step.
Yeah, I mean, they got it. They got a lot of work to do. They got to figure, and they got to retool the bench. You know, they're not as deep as people thought they would be. You know, they definitely got a lot of work to do.
I'll put Middleton as a reserve.
He was
as a reserve.
Yeah,
he was
Middleton. Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
under the other coach.
under Adrian Griffin, because he was hurt for a while. Then when he came back, he was coming on
back slowly.
Yeah. I don't know what the issue was with Adrian Griffin and the players. You know, I guess there was some kind of issue within internally.
And then they was there was an issue early in the year with with Dame's old coach in Portland. Remember, he was an assistant, and they had that little blow up where he was trying to talk to Giannis and Dame in the huddle. Adrian was calling the coach's huddle.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's like, "Oh, give me 1 second." Next day, he quit.
Yeah,
he stepped down. So I think it was more of that. I think that had a large part to do with maybe rubbing some people the wrong way, whether it be players or organization wise. But
that's crazy, man. Crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Greg is in the chat, said the NBA gave the league off today. Yeah, there's no games today. I guess due to the eclipse. You know, I guess.
That's some crazy preemptive planning.
You know what I mean? Due to the eclipse, I guess. Oh, the NBA, the NCAA finals. Yeah, the men's finals game is tonight. Could be both. You know, you only get a chance to see a full eclipse once in a lifetime or something. So maybe they did that, and then because there's like school off and all kinds of stuff going on because of the eclipse.
Yeah, everything. Couple stores closing.
Right, but the NCAA finals is at like 9:20 tonight or something. Yeah, so that's likely what it is, Kevin. Yeah, you're right. The NCAA finals. Air Jordan said this team isn't tanking for position. They're just dumping his ass. Oh boy.
I don't even know what that is. I mean,
oh man.
I don't want to know what it is. That's bad. I know that.
You know, I mean, I guess right now that's what they are. You know what I'm saying? Aaron said, "Trash time," and then the title of the show, David said, "Lame time."
Man,
you know that's the way it's looking right now. Lame time. You know, I guess one last thing. Will said, "I'm tired of hearing the excuse of coaching. When do the players get held accountable? Even our best player." Talking about Giannis. You know, how much accountability do you have to put on the players?
I mean, for me, and maybe it's just because I'm so used to Tibbs right now. You know what I mean? It's Giannis really taking a step back defensively.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I mean, I think you always have to, players always have to be held accountable because they got to get on the court and make things happen. And if you have a team that can win, um, has shown it, a team that could be 32-14, and you step to 15-17, yeah, coaching is involved, but also the players are involved too. You know what I mean? And you gotta they gotta take some of the accountability. You know what I mean? Yeah, they have to. I don't know, like I don't follow Milwaukee like that. So I don't know who to put the blame on, but or which players really need to step up, but they gotta handle some accountability or take some of the accountability, you know.
Shout out to Big Nick Energy in the building.
Big
I'm a
shout
fan. I'm a fan. Says should have never traded Holiday.
That's true. Yeah, big shout out to Big Nick Energy, man. Big shout out. No, should have never traded Holiday. He's one of those guys that's one of those glue guys, defensive guys. Does so many of the little things that you need on your team. And yeah, without him, it's they're
Mm.
they're struggling without him, because he and leadership. And leadership.
See, if I was them, I would have hard pressed for Marcus Smart. I would have tried to go go grab Smart.
Go get Marcus Smart. That wouldn't have been a bad idea. To come off I mean, obviously he was hurt this season, but that wouldn't have been a bad idea.
Just to offset it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he'll have that same energy, that same the smart, this despair that Holiday has. You know what I mean? Like if you hear what Holiday been saying in interviews and everything,
Right.
he feels some kind of way. Marcus Smart would have had that same energy.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, glad to be back on the Losers Lounge.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Glad to be back. Uh, it was a while. We wasn't here for a while. We missed
Yeah,
some
we missed a couple wins. We lost a couple games.
in a while.
Definitely glad to be back.
Hopefully we can finish the season strong.
For
You
sure.
know what I mean? If we can finish the season strong, 4 wins. I'm hoping we can go 4-0 down the stretch of the season. That's what I'm looking at. I would love for the Knicks to go 4-0. Um, finish strong with 4 straight losers lounges, and then, amp up for the playoffs. Amp up for the playoffs. See what's
Sure.
going on. Anything you wanna?
Knicks and bruises, man. I'm getting one ready. You gonna do one like 20 minutes or something, Sim? Or
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We'll do that do
1:30. 1:30.
1:30. That
So
works.
check out Knicks and bruises. And yeah, I see y'all there. Your blackest time.
Doubt about it.
Yep.
And
2 L's up.
yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, hopefully tonight or sometime today, we trying to get back on the front stoop.
Yeah, we got some things to talk about.
We got some things to talk about. Some real OG talk, and we not talk about OG Anunoby. You know what I'm saying? Just talk about some real stuff. So if you're not subscribed to the front stoop, make sure you subscribe. We're gonna be on there today, sometime today. We don't know. We're gonna figure it out, and try to just have some real good conversations about real life situations. I'm saying, among other things, some of you guys know Ron and Ron and John is always on the stoop, doing a show on the stoop. We got somebody else that might be ramping up to do a show on the stoop. I'll keep that, I'll keep that quiet for now. And then, me and Tony's gonna get back to doing some regular stuff. So Yeah, go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and subscribe so we got some stuff to talk about. Other than that, we're going to get up out of here. Look for notifications from Knicks and Bruises from the stoop today. And be peaceful. We're out of here. What?
None of us feel good about it. This is where we are. You are what your record is. You are what has happened, recently. But things can change quickly. Once we losing is what got us here. None of us feel good about it.